All right, truth in advertising. No English Premier Soccer, Joe Scarborough. But good morning, all. I'm Chris Jansing, live in Columbia, South Carolina, with MSNBC's special coverage from the 2016 campaign trail. It is President's Day. Major aftershocks of a seismic shift from the death of Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia that will have far-reaching political, judicial, and social implications. And not just for years, but potentially for decades to come. People have an outsized role in this fight, and those are the members of the Senate Judiciary Committee who would question any nominee if it gets that far. One of them, Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut, took to Twitter saying, quote, "I hope POTUS will promptly nominate someone with strong intellect and integrity who can win bipartisan support." We sort of already are getting an indication anecdotally. I don't know about you, but everywhere I went over the weekend, the level of awareness of people not just recognizing that Antonin Scalia had died unexpectedly, but the implications of that death were tremendous. But I wonder how much it will change the 2016 race. And, you know, can't ignore control of the Senate. And you look at some of key Republicans, the Pat Toomey's and Rob Portman's and Ron Johnson's, who are in more purple states or in places where it's going to be a little more difficult for them to sound like Ted Cruz. What might it mean? A reaction now from the campaign trail. NBC's Peter Alexander is in Charleston following the Trump campaign. NBC's back to that debate for a minute. We have to talk about some of those, I guess you would even call them incendiary moments. Let me play a little bit from the debate. Live from Columbia, South Carolina, we will turn to the Democratic side, where Hillary Clinton and Bernie. Donald Trump says he wants the next Supreme Court justice to be someone just like the late Justice Scalia. In other words, another. You know that old saying, the past is prologue, applies to this new reality of the Supreme Court? Or does it? It's President's Day, and the Democrats fighting for the Oval Office are out and about. Hillary Clinton in Nevada, Bernie Sanders rallying supporters in Michigan, both weighing in on the passing of Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia. Thought that Secretary Clinton was supposed to be in Florida today as they're... Back now to the death of Justice Scalia, and it didn't take long for the names of possible replacements to start emerging. It's quite a list, among them, and the, I guess, short list of nominees, the people who seem... So, Tom, you wrote yesterday, quote, "It is impossible to overstate the importance of Ted Cruz." We get a nominee before the election. Republican presidential candidate Jeb Bush is bringing in his family for backup. Just hours from now, former President George W. Bush will be hitting the campaign trail with his brother. As you're both South Carolinians and report on this, how big will the turnout be?
I think it'll be very substantial for the Republicans.
And that's going to do it for me this hour. I'm Chris Jansing, live from the Liberty Tap Room in Columbia, South Carolina. I'll see you back here 1 o'clock Eastern Time, and again 6 p.m. for that coverage of President George W. Bush's campaign appearance for his brother. My colleague Ari Melber is up next, who's watching for a... Hello, I'm Chris Jansing, live at the Liberty Tap Room in Columbia, South Carolina, along with all my new best friends who are having lunch today here. We're continuing MSNBC's special coverage from the 2016 campaign trail. We're unbelievable listening to him. There was quite a lot ago. The ranking member on the Senate Judiciary Committee expressed to our own Andrea Mitchell his extreme frustration with Republicans who don't think the president should nominate a successor to Scalia. Is an MSNBC political analyst and former general counsel for the Republican as an epic political battle. Take us inside that room in the White House where the president will be meeting with key staff members. It is a little bit different than when he nominated either Sotomayor or Kagan. Is this another one of those kind of catch-20? The president isn't supposed to do what constitutionally he is empowered to do to show that he's not obstructionist?
So he can certainly do what he's empowered.
So he said he's going to nominate someone, so that's not even in question here. Does he go for a moderate, for example, someone who's been through a nominating process? Nominee. The Pulse is now live. Go to pulse.msnbc.com to weigh in. And up next this hour, we turn from the race here in South Carolina to Nevada, which was pretty much generally Democrats, and of course those folks, Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton, standing firmly behind the president's right to nominate a replacement to the Supreme Court. But it is a hot topic on the campaign trail in Nevada, where at MSNBC's Casey Hunt, who is following the Sanders campaign in Ypsilanti, Michigan. And I understand you are in a campaign-related traffic jam there?
Chris, that's right. And we can actually show you some live.
Well, the Bush name will be on full display today, just as we head to break. A lighter moment as Saturday Night Live takes on Hillary Clinton. Welcome back live from the Liberty Tap Room in Columbia, South Carolina. Just one of the many states where candidates are fanned out today, looking to earn some votes. Next hour, Senator Tim Kaine weighs in on the fight over the replacement for Antonin Scalia. You're going to want to watch that. And a reminder, you can weigh in. Senator Ted Cruz in South Carolina just a short time ago, appearing to make a strong play for those all-important evangelical votes here. We should explain Donald Trump's sister is a federal appeals court judge and considered a staunch liberal. Up next, an endorsement for Hillary Clinton, the mother of slain Florida, her schedule to spend more time in that state. One of the topics that Hillary Clinton's been talking about on the campaign trail is gun violence. She recently captured the endorsements from two mothers whose sons were killed as a result of guns. One of those mothers is Lucia McBath. Hour of coverage, but coming up in our next hour, I'm Chris Jansing, live from Columbia, South Carolina. It is President's Day, and perhaps appropriately, a very busy one for the candidates fighting to be the 45th. And he says, so we've got teams spread across South Carolina today. Let's get right to Peter Alexander, who is on the phone from inside the location where Trump is about to address the media. And Peter, as we said, Trump scheduled this late last night. And his spokesperson told me this morning he wants to set the record straight, which means what?
Well, that's
not the least of which, frankly, is the big Bush event tonight, where we're going to see W campaigning for the first time. And obviously, we've heard Trump really take him on. But in terms of the event itself tonight, what are we expecting?
Well, as we said, about 2,500 people.
Well, we're waiting for him to show up, and Trump may be about 10 minutes away now. He's running a little bit behind. After that, he's going to hold a rally in Greenville, South Carolina, which is where we find NBC's Carrie Sanders. And Carrie, Peter just gave us a rundown of what to expect at the press conference. Talking to reporters is take a quick break. We are waiting for Donald Trump to come. Good evening. I'm Chris Jansing, live from the Liberty Tap Room in Columbia, South Carolina. And what a President's Day it has been for the men and women who want to be president. Let's start with what's happening right now at the North Charleston Coliseum. The struggling campaign of Jeb Bush. The Bush campaign thinks the criticism is a risky strategy for Trump, and they stand by their decision. From when he got the call about what had happened on 9/11 and said that going forward, his job was to protect her and our community and our country, and has this be some sort of major turnaround for this campaign and help him. But we did see the George W. Bush we don't see very often, and funny too. He always had that quality about him. Ann Gearan, Susan Page, picture of this campaign. Look what's going on with the fight to replace Justice Scalia on the Supreme Court. It has become the issue over the last 48 hours or so on the campaign trail. And, of course, here in South Carolina, Republicans going to wrap up this hour of MSNBC live from Columbia, South Carolina. Hardball.